The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. vows to push for universal health care for all Filipinos.
The Senate leadership shows confidence that majority of senators will support the proposal to bring to the attention of the United Nations the maritime disputes in the West Philippine Sea.
One was confirmed dead while 78 residents were affected after a construction site collapsed in Sitio Vista Grande, Antipolo City.
And Russia warns of potential use of cluster bombs if Ukraine uses them against the country.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, the 17th of July, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harleen Delgado.
First in the news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. led the briefing and site inspection of the Clark MultiSpecialty Medical Center in Clark Freeport Zone in Pampanga, where he vowed to pursue accessible, quality health care services for every Filipino. Nel Maribuhok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said his administration was relentlessly pushing for universal health care for all Filipinos as he inspected the construction of a new multi-specialty medical center in Clark, Pampanga that he said was part of that push. In his speech during the event, President Marcos said that the aforementioned special medical center is not only part of his State of the Nation address priorities, but is also part of an important component of the administration's Health Facility Enhancement Program or HFEP.
But that is the product of our relentless push for universal health care, and we will not stop until every Filipino can say they have good access to quality health care. I cannot endure the sight of seeing a fellow Filipino suffer only because of the lack of facilities in our health system.
The HFEP aims to widen access to quality healthcare services, especially for those in underserved communities. President Marcos vowed that his government would build more specialty hospitals across the country.
Rest assured, this administration is determined to bring quality healthcare services closer to Filipino people.
PBBM also vowed to establish rural healthcare units and barangay health centers, as he also supported the idea of strengthening the Botica de Barangays program. Noting the country's experiences during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, President Marcos said that there are sufficient lessons that the Philippines and the Filipino people have learned and be equipped for any such occurrences in the future. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The House of Representatives reports that it is now 95% ready in its preparations for the second State of the Nation address of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on July 24. Meanwhile, 90% of the SONA guest list has confirmed their attendance to the SONA physically. Janice and Henta will tell us why.
The physical setup and program flow for the second State of the Nation address or SONA of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. are all set, according to House of Representatives Secretary General Reginald Velasco. Earlier, the House held a walkthrough with the media to showcase the scenario during PBBM's arrival at the House of Representatives until the President delivers his SONA report. Velasco mentioned that they have already prepared the executive room where the President, House Speaker, and Senate President will wait until the SONA begins.
Sa preparation, almost 95% na eh. Ang hinihintay na lang namin talaga yung final guest list ng mga offices, no? Office of the President, Senate, at saka other organizations, no? All the preparations have been done, physical arrangements, security. We are confident that by Friday, everything will be all set.
Meanwhile, Velasco stated that 90% of the guest list has confirmed their attendance physically during the SONA. He added that more than 2,000 guests, lawmakers, and officials are expected to attend the SONA.
90% eh. Yun lang, meron kasing mga for health reasons hindi makaka-attend from the diplomatic corps, from the cabinet, from the office of the president. But we have already sent all the invitations and we are, of course, waiting for the submission of the final guest list.
Velasco mentioned that they have prepared around 2,000 seats and 2 function halls to accommodate all the guests and VIPs who will attend physically during the second SONA of PBBM. Janice Enhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, stressed that the International Criminal Court is still not welcome in the country. JP Nunez tells us why.
The International Criminal Court or ICC Appeals Chamber is set to release its decision on the Philippines' appeal against the continuation of the illegal drug war probe of the Duterte administration tomorrow, July 18. Department of Justice or DOJ Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla urged the ICC to respect the Philippines' sovereignty. Remulla stressed the ICC must focus on countries that have no existing justice system.
Tayo po ay very hospitable people. Kaya lang, pagka pakikialam lang gagawin nila, ay hindi po tayo papayag sapagkat may sarili po tayong sistema ng batas, may sarili tayong tradisyon, may sarili tayong kapulisan, may sarili tayong prosecution, mayroon tayong korte na hindi nila pwedeng pakialaman o kaya
the Philippine government will not allegedly allow the ICC to come in and meddle in our legal processes. Solicitor Minardo Guevara, on the other hand, said if the ICC will dismiss their appeal, the ICC prosecutor will simply continue the investigation. But they will exhaust all legal remedies upon the resolution of their appeal. Meanwhile, opposition Senator Risa Hontiveros stressed that there will be a great impact if the ICC gives the green light to the investigation.
Kapag binigyang daan muli ang proseso, maari pa ngang mag-ripen yan into issuance of a warrant of arrest. So, napakalaki po ng implikasyon para sa posibilidad na magkaroon ng hustisya, ang mga balo, ang mga ulila, iba pang mga naulilang miyembro ng mga pamilya na mga biktima ng war on drugs.
The war on drugs victims also believe the ICC can help them in their fight for justice.
Masilip man lang, magkaroon man lang muna ng investigasyon. Ang investigasyon na ito ang magsasabi kung sino ba talaga ang dapat managot.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Commission on Elections, or Comelec, is planning to file a motion for reconsideration before the Supreme Court over the High Court's decision on the next Barangayan Sangguniang Kabataan elections, or BSKE. Comelec Chairman George Erwin Garcia said they have to ask the court that the next Barangay BSKE would be on October 2026 from December 2025. Garcia explained this will allow them to have enough time to prepare because there will be national and local elections also in May 2025.
Tingnan niyo po, kung ganun din lang naman na sinasabi na ituloy na ang eleksyon ng October. So tuloy na, ibig sabihin valid ang October election. O di kung bibilangin mo ang 3 years ng October, so dapat 2026. Yun ang contention ng Commission on Election.
The Comelec will file its plea through the Office of the Solicitor General. Garcia added there was also a proposal to automate the next BSKE, which would need at least 25 billion pesos for preparations alone.
And for our news abroad, President Vladimir Putin stated that Russia has sufficient stockpile of cluster munitions and would consider using them against Ukraine if they were used against their country. Iya De Vera will give us the details live. Yes, good evening, Iya.
Good evening, Marvi. President Putin's remarks come shortly after Ukraine received cluster bombs from the United States, although Ukrainian government claimed they have not been utilized. During an interview, President Putin pointed out Russia's substantial supply of different types of cluster munitions and mentioned they have rights to mirror actions if these weapons were used against their country. The decision made by the United States to give cluster munitions to Ukraine has gained controversy and drawn criticism from the human rights organizations, as cluster bombs pose a huge risk to civilians. Cluster munitions consist of multiple explosives that once released, it can cover an area comparable to size of several football fields and can be deployed from various platforms. Unexploded bomblets will also be hazardous for years. Over 100 countries, including the United Kingdom, France, and Germany, have signed a treaty prohibiting the use of such bombs due to hazards of using cluster weapons. However, the U.S. decided to provide cluster bombs to Ukraine to support its efforts in pushing back Russian forces from Ukrainian territory. President Joe Biden admits the decision to send cluster munitions to Ukraine was challenging, but justified it by stating Kyiv needed additional weapons to counter Russian forces. Back to you, Marvi.
Thank you, Iya De Vera, reporting live from New Zealand. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Marvi. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. A former United States Air Force official tweeted that China's largest maritime vessel has been spotted in Ayungin Shoal. Meanwhile, a maritime law expert has expressed concern over the monster ship and 30 other Chinese militia vessels as they were spotted within the country's exclusive economic zone. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The biggest maritime vessel of the Chinese Coast Guard, referred to as the monster ship, has been spotted in the Ayungin Shoal. According to a tweet by former United States Air Force official and former Defense Attaché Ray Powell, Professor Jay Batumbakal, a maritime law expert, expresses alarm as the vessel is within the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone or AEZ.
Tingin ko, ginawa din nila yan para ma-intimidate tayo dahil ang nadinig ko, dineploy nila malapit sa Ayungin Shoal, no? Kung nasan yung BRP Sierra Madre.
He further adds that aside from the monster ship, Powell spotted 30 more Chinese militia vessels.
Ito ay isang concern syempre, no? Pero sana wag naman sana magkaroon ng kahit anong insidente dun sa lugar.
With the upcoming State of the Nation address or SONA of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Professor Batumbakal suggests that his chief executive should prioritize the passing of House Bill 7819, also known as the Philippine Maritime Zones Act.
Makikita ng malinaw kung nasa na yung extent bale ng ating territory and jurisdiction, lalo na under UNCLOS. So pag ginawa natin yun, ibig sabihin talagang ini-implementa natin yung award.
Meanwhile, the Department of National Defense or DND, National Security Council, and China's embassy has yet to release statements about the matter. Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News at Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Senate leadership is confident that majority of senators will support the proposal to bring to the attention of the United Nations the maritime disputes in the West Philippine Sea. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros hopes that her colleagues will approve of her proposal seeking to elevate China's actions in the West Philippine Sea to the United Nations General Assembly or UNGA. In June, Hontiveros filed a resolution urging the Philippine government through the Department of Foreign Affairs to sponsor a resolution before the UNGA calling on China to stop its harassment of Philippine vessels within the West Philippine Sea.
Hindi magiging legally binding ito sa China, pero yung political weight ay mabigat dahil magpapahayag ito ng sense at will ng international communities.
In an interview on Sunday, Senate President Juan Miguel Migzubiri said the Senate will tackle the resolution in the plenary on July 25, Tuesday, as he expressed confidence that majority of senators will vote in favor of the resolution. He also shared a portion of the latest Pulse Asia survey, where 75% of respondents say they are in favor in strengthening the military ties between the United States and the Philippines amid the security tension in the West Philippine Sea. 14% voted against, 2% said they do not have enough knowledge to give an opinion, while 8% of respondents were undecided. A week before his second State of the Nation address or SONA, the minority senator urges President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to explicitly say that he will support and defend the 2016 arbitral ruling. This as she also expressed dismay that the palace did not release any statement during the 7th anniversary of the Hague ruling that favored the Philippines and invalidated the so-called 9-line claim of China over the South China Sea.
Sana sa SONA, sabihin na niya, finally, categorically, na pinanghahawakan din niya at itataguyod din niya yung tagumpay natin sa Hague Tribunal. Pagkatapos mag-statement ang Chinese Embassy ng kanilang pagbasura sa ating tagumpay sa arbitral ruling, wala man lang kibo ang palasyo. The silence is deafening.
Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Maritime Industry Authority, or Marina, has suspended the passenger ship safety certificate of MV Maria Helena, the roll-on roll-off vessel that ran aground in Barangay Nusunugan, Banton, Romblon on July 16. During the initial investigation, it was found out that the ship's cargo wheel exploded, causing it to lose balance and roll. Fortunately, the ship's 93 passengers and 36 crew members are safe. As a precautionary measure, the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, has placed a spill boom in the area to prevent any potential oil spill, especially since the ship landed in a rocky area. The vessel will undergo a strict marina inspection to ensure its seaworthiness before it is allowed to sail again.
Meanwhile, 3 of the 5 policemen accused of robbery extortion in Manila surrendered in Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, or PAOCC, this afternoon. PAOCC USEC Gilbert Cruz says he will turn over the 3 police officers to PNP Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. USEC Cruz said that the 2 other police officers also expressed an intention to surrender. The 5 policemen were allegedly caught in a closed-circuit television or CCTV footage as they forcibly entered a computer shop in Sampaloc, Manila on July 11 for an illegal gambling operation. They allegedly took the shop's earnings worth 44,000 pesos. In addition to that, the suspect allegedly demanded a weekly protection money of 4,000 pesos from the shop owner.
The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, states that the jeepney phase-out will not happen this year. JP Nunez reports why.
The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, considers the protests of the Transport Group Manibela against the PUV modernization program as non-existent. LTFRB Chairman Attorney Chofilo Guadis III stated that the jeepney phase-out will still take time, possibly up to 3 years. The LTFRB now emphasizes that the importance of public transport operators joining cooperatives to establish an organized system.
Ang deadline nito is December 31. Isa lang naman hinihingi namin sa kanila, hindi naman ho i-phase out yung mga jeepney, kundi for them to form an association, which is either a corporation or a cooperative, which is the initial step to modernization. Yung phasing out will come 2 or 3 years later. Mahabang proseso po to.
Meanwhile, the LTFRB warns operators and jeepney drivers who plan to join the transport strike that they may face suspension or revocation of their franchise. The LTFRB will deploy personnel on the ground to monitor and take pictures of their license plates.
Yung mga mag-i-strike, I will be there on the highway. We will have our cameras. The moment na kunan namin ng picture yung mga jeepney ninyo, may show cause order kaagad kayo. Either you get suspended or you get your franchise revoked. And I mean business this time.
The LTFRB also announced that they will offer free rides on routes expected to be affected by the strike. Chairman Guadis mentioned that they have identified 3 key areas in Metro Manila where they will potentially deploy the free rides, including Balintawak area in Quezon City.
Yan yung mga area na may mga nambabato, naglalagay ng spike sa daan, or they tend to harass the drivers para po sumama sa strike ng Manibela.
In an earlier interview, Mar Valbuena, the chairman of Manibela, stated that they remain determined to continue the transport strike, which will coincide with the second State of the Nation address of President Bongbong Marcos Jr. from July 24 to July 26. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
3 continents have issued health alerts, citing wildfires and other threats due to the continuous increase in temperatures around the world. Mavin Carizo tells us why.
Countries in Asia, Europe, and United States on Sunday, July 16, issued wildfire alerts and health threats as temperature continues to rise and expected to beat records. In Japan, authorities issued heat stroke alerts to its millions of people on 20 out of 47 of its prefectures, as near-record high temperatures scourge large areas. 41 degrees Celsius in Camagaya City was the highest recorded in 2018. A powerful heat wave is expected to stretch from California to Texas this weekend in United States. California's Death Valley, one of the most hottest places on Earth, is possible to surpass a whopping 54 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, in Europe, Italians were warned to prepare as the most intense heat wave is coming this summer. 43 degrees Celsius as the highest, which led health ministry to sound red alert to 16 cities including Rome, Bologna, and Florence. According to Salimul Huq, the director of International Center for Climate Change and Development in Bangladesh, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has predicted this was going to happen much later. However, it is happening now, and this is because of the emissions of greenhouse gases, which are also expected to rise more in the future. Mavin Carizo, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people. We give glory to God.
Chinese naval vessels have set sail this weekend towards the Sea of Japan with the Russian military for an exercise codenamed Northern Interaction 2023. The joint drills mark the enhanced military cooperation between the two countries since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. China's flotilla consists of 5 warships and 4 shipborne helicopters and will meet with Russian forces in a predetermined area, according to the Chinese Defense Ministry. This will also mark the first time both of Russia's naval and air forces will take part in the drill. Earlier this month, Russia's 2 warships had taken part in separate training with the Chinese Navy on formation movements, communication, and sea rescues. The ships sailed past Taiwan and Japan before reaching the port of Shanghai, prompting the 2 nations to monitor the Russian vessels. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Marvi Delfin, live from Australia. Good evening.
Filipino pole vaulter EJ Obiena brought honor to the country after winning a gold medal and setting a new record at the 2023 Asian Athletics Games. Rina Villamor Camara reports.
Filipino pole vaulter EJ Obiena has set a new record after winning gold in the recently concluded Asian Athletics Championship in Bangkok, Thailand. Saudi Arabia's Hussein Al-Hizam placed second at 5.56 meters, while China's Wang Bokai cleared the bronze at 5.51 meters. This is the second time in a row that Obiena won the Asian title alongside his renowned Ukrainian coach Vitaly Petrov, who will also join him in the 19th Asian Games in Hangzhou, China this September. Together with Obiena is Robin Lauren Brown's victory in the women's division, to which Team Philippines goes home with a pair of golds for the first time since the 1987 Asian Champs in Singapore, where Asia's sprint queen Lydia De Vega also scored a double golden ticket in the women's 100 meters and 200 meters. The 27-year-old pole vaulter also owns the previous record at 5.71 meters, which was set in 2019 in Doha, Qatar. Obiena has also placed an early reservation in the 2024 Paris Olympics after clearing the Olympic standard at 5.82 meters at the Bauhaus Gallen in Stockholm, Sweden last month. This is where he set his personal best at 6.0 meters at present. Back then, he also became the first Filipino qualifier to the Tokyo Summer Olympics, which was pushed back to the following year due to the pandemic. Obiena is currently ranked as the world's third best active men pole vaulter according to World Athletics. He has also been the first Filipino that has been given a scholarship from the International Athletic Association Federation, or IAAF. Rina Villamor Camara, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Several senators expressed support on the Marcos administration's Bagong Pilipinas brand of governance. Senator Francis Cheese Escudero calls it inspiring and a signal of a new beginning. He hopes that the new government slogan will encourage public officials and employees to do a better job and not be burdened by the failures of the past. Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva also supports the rebranding, saying that it clearly sets the direction and objectives of the Marcos administration. Meanwhile, Senator Jinggoy Estrada says while it is expected that the new slogan will be scrutinized, it is important to recognize the intentions and potential of the new governance brand. But Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros is not convinced, saying that a new slogan is not what the country needs to solve pressing issues. She urges President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to lay down concrete plans and programs and ensure first a genuinely honest and effective government.
Talagang nauna pa lumabas yung logo ng Bagong Pilipinas kaysa sa totoong pagbabago. Sana naman huwag puro branding at pagmamalinis ang atupagi ng administrasyon. Honestly, bilang isang martial law baby, Bagong Pilipinas sounds too much like Bagong Lipunan. At alam naman natin kung gaano ka hindi naging bago yung lipunang iyon.
The Department of Health ensures that there is no outbreak of diseases in Albay despite the residents staying in evacuation camps. However, the department continues to monitor the situation, especially considering the potential impact of the ongoing El Nino and rainfall. Gladys Tuabi will tell us why.
Cough, cold, and sore throat. These are common experiences among residents who have evacuated due to the activity of Mayan volcano. According to records from the Department of Health or DOH, a total of 1,624 cases of acute respiratory infection have been reported among the remaining evacuees in Albay.
Sa ngayon po ay aming isinasalaysay po sa inyo, binabalita na wala pong outbreak, bagamat tayo po ay nagbabantay sa magiging epekto po ng sama-sama nilang nasa evacuation center, may El Nino at may pag-uulan.
However, the department assures the public that there is no cause for alarm.
While there is no current outbreak of illnesses in the area, the DOH is closely monitoring the situation.
Naintindihan namin ang kalagayan ng marami nating kababayan doon sa evacuation camps sapagkat mahigit na pong isang buwan at nandun pa po sila at tungkulin naman namin sa kagawaran ng kalusugan na walang paghahawaan na maaaring magresulta sa isang outbreak.
DOH Undersecretary Eric Tayat states that the department is also monitoring the potential effects of El Niño and frequent rainfall on the residents' health. Meanwhile, despite the potential health risk associated with people gathering in evacuation camps in Albay, there have been no additional cases of COVID-19 recorded or reported in the area.
Mas masusi pang pag-iingat ang inaasahan namin doon sa mga evacuees na nananatili po roon sapagkat sila po ay maaaring mabilis dapuan po ng mga sakit. Sundin ang mga alituntuning nilalabas po ng iba't ibang ahensya na nagtutulungan po upang maging komportable po ang patuloy niyong pagtira sa mga evacuation camps.
The DOH emphasizes the importance of immediate reporting of any health problems to the medical team, as prompt medical attention and free medication can help prevent further transmission. Nevertheless, COVID-19 vaccination efforts continue in the evacuation camps as an additional protective measure. Apart from administering the second booster shot, it is expected that bivalent vaccines will also be administered, specifically targeting healthcare workers and senior citizens who have completed their second booster doses. Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
One person was confirmed dead after a construction site collapsed in Sitio Vista Grande, Barangay Santa Cruz, Antipolo City. Approximately 22 families or 78 individuals have been affected by the incident. Alan Manansala reports.
Mr. Edward Mission, whose house was not included in the landslide, is very thankful after the land around the construction site near his home collapsed in Sitio Vista Grande, Barangay Santa Cruz, Antipolo City, Rizal last night. According to Mr. Edward, around 7 o'clock in the evening, they heard loud clicking of metals coming from the construction site of a cold storage facility near their home. Apparently, that was caused by the landslide occurred in their area.
Dito sa kabila. Sa kabila. Pangalawang side. So, mga 20 minutes bago mag-hit kabila eh. Buti nakatakbo yung mga tao palabas yung nasa ligid ng bahay na yan. Tip ng bakal, no?
Oo.
Parang lumalagat ka bakal. Tapos ang lakas, akala mo plano na
Magmumagsak.
Magsak.
However, the 41-year-old woman named Mrs. Dina Savan La Chica was not fortunate enough to survive the incident. Gloria Savan stated that the contractor has taken responsibility for covering the cost of the cabin and the expenses associated with returning the deceased back to their province in Cagayan. But because Mrs. Dina has left a child behind, Mrs. Gloria is also appealing for assistance to be provided to the child.
Hihingi din po kami ng tulong para dun sa anak niya, sa naiwan niya. Kasi siya OFW yun eh. Kaya lang, tigil siya muna, wala siyang ngayon.
According to Barangay Captain Cirilo Tenorio of Barangay Santa Cruz, they have spoken to Mr. Ray Mendoza, the representative of Marinas Corporation Builders Incorporated, who stated that they will soon provide initial assistance to all the affected residents.
Iniharap namin sila doon sa mga naepektuhan ng baksakan yung bahay. Iniharap namin kanina. At ang sabi, sinagot naman nila kung ano mga kailangan nila ay bibigay naman nila. Pero nangako sila bukas, bibigyan sila ng unang tulong hanggat sila naandito.
In the record of the Barangay Local Government Unit of Santa Cruz, 78 individuals or 22 families have been affected by the incident. Most of them are currently staying in Santa Cruz Barangay Hall Covered Court, while the local government unit, the affected residents, and the contractor of the collapsed construction of the cold storage facility are finalizing their agreement. The barangay officials of Santa Cruz plan to hold a dialogue with the Antipolo City Engineering Office to verify the documentation status of the Marinas Corporation, Builders Incorporated, and to know whether the structure was made using substandard materials. Alan Manansala, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasambahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the various challenges and uncertainties, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 34. It says, "Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart." And those are the reasons behind the news, July 17, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harley Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.